Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to this week's Productive Agent Podcast. My name is Tony Ruiz. I'm the founder and host of the Productive Agent Podcast and Facebook group. Today, I'm joined by my good friend, Mrs. Melissa Cunningham.
Hi.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. It's a beautiful house. Thanks for welcoming me in.
Thank you.
I'm excited to pick your brain. I met Melissa through my wife, Miranda Ruiz, and both of them worked at Southwest Airlines for a little bit, and I remember meeting at a bar, and it's like, yeah, very little bit. It was awesome to connect with you, and then met Rodney, and then we purchased this lot together.
Yep.
That was a lot of fun. This house is beautiful, and it's super excited to be here. But the reason that I brought you on, I'm excited to pick your brain, is because you've kind of exploded on social media. And I know social media is a big deal for a lot of realtors and, just your personal brand and getting that out there. So I kind of want to talk a little bit about that. You cool with that?
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
So she has 193,000 followers on Instagram. We'll get to that in a second. And TikTok, 110,000 followers. I'm sitting at 1,000.
That's okay.
You got to start somewhere, right?
Zero. It's better than one.
Yeah, so we're going to work and kind of talk about how we can grow and see what we can do to elevate that.
Absolutely,
So cool. Well, start with, tell us a little bit about you, your background, and then we'll kind of get into how you got into social media. Where are you from?
Okay, so originally I am from Maryland. I was born and raised there. Moved to Atlanta in my early 20s, met my husband. We moved around quite a bit with his job, and we settled here in Texas in 2000. And we've been here ever since.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And what did you do for work?
I've kind of done a lot of different things.
Okay.
I started out, everybody starts out, I waited tables. I was a waitress.
Mm-hmm.
I worked retail. Then I worked for a medical software company in Atlanta.
Okay.
We moved around a lot with my husband's job, and I would do like temp work. I would work for temp agencies to get office work. When we moved here, part of the reason that we moved here was I really wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I had a son who was about to turn 1. And after I had my second child, I decided I wanted to do just a little something. Went to work at a school, so I've worked in a school. And then I decided I was going to go work for an airline because I thought that would be great. It's not so much. Went to work for Southwest, left Southwest, and didn't do a whole lot of anything, just kind of hung out with my kids for a while until all of my kids kind of were of age to leave the nest, and I was looking for something. I knew I wanted to go back to work, but I didn't want to work in an office. I wanted to kind of be my own boss deal.
Yeah, no, I love that. And then listening to that, it's funny, I waited tables as well.
Yep.
I was in retail as well. I'm encouraging my daughter to do that. She just turned 15, so she'll get her first job probably soon.
Yes.
And you just develop skills in those different positions. You know how to communicate, you work with others, very important skills, and then go into the school, no matter what part of the school you're working in.
For sure.
So, you're just very charismatic. So I'm sure that's what helps pay off in the videos.
And I think too, when you've worked all of those different, is genre isn't even a word, when you've done all of those different things, I know now what I don't want to do, and the things that make me happy and the things that I'm passionate about. And so I think if you are doing something that you're passionate about, then you're going to succeed.
Yeah,
because you're doing it for yourself.
Sure,
ultimately.
You're doing it for yourself. You're excited about it.
Exactly.
You want to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. And you don't necessarily have to answer to other people.
That's right. That's right.
Very cool.
You answer to yourself.
Yes.
So you need to keep yourself as your boss. Like that's the biggest thing is, it's easy when you work for yourself. I'm sure you can say, well, I'm not going to do that today. But to be successful, you have to treat yourself as your boss.
Absolutely.
You're in charge of your success.
Yeah, for sure. So talk to us a little bit about the social media thing. How did it start? I mean, were you just kind of messing around with it? Have you always been into social media as like a follower, or how'd you get into it?
So it's kind of, it's not weird. I guess it's just my progression. When my youngest child went away to college, I remember scrolling through social media at night. Like I wasn't working, but I would get in bed at night, probably like a lot of people, and I would just scroll, right? And so one night I'm scrolling and I see this product that someone is promoting. And I was like, that's really cool. And so, like anything else, the more you watch a video, the algorithm keeps pushing that same information out to you. And so I keep seeing this and I'm like, that's really cool. So I purchased this product, right?
Okay.
And I'm like, and I remember saying to my mom, because I'm 55, I was not 55 at the time. And I said, I'm going to like buy this product and I'm going to try it. And I remember her saying, well, yeah, but that girl's like 25, you're 51. And I was like, dang. But I bought it, and I remember I brought it home, and I was using it and doing my stuff. And the way that I found it was on social media. Mm-hmm. And so, you could also sell this product, right? And you could do this on social media. So I found myself like pretending I was the person. I was like, so we have this, and we're going to put this on here, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. And the more I did it, and I was actually doing it, like walking myself through steps of how to apply this product, right? Okay. And I was like, I think I could do this. I think I could sell this product. And I didn't jump into it right away. I kind of waited for a couple months because I felt like it was way outside my comfort zone. And I actually prayed about it, and I was like, if this is something that I'm supposed to do, give me, give me a sign. I couldn't stop thinking about it. So I signed up for this program. One of the biggest ways to promote it is they like you to promote it on social media. And I was like, I don't know if that's my thing. But I just jumped in one day, and I put it out there. And the first year, I look back at some of the stuff I did the first year, and I was like, that is so terrible. That is so cringe.
Yeah.
But I just kept doing it and doing it. And I swear to you, every time that I thought that I wasn't going to do this again, an opportunity would fall into my lap. And so I took that as my sign that I was supposed to keep going.
Yeah.
So every time, it probably like you, in your adventure with real estate, you have really good things happen, and then you have some setbacks where you question yourself and you say, I don't think I'm meant for this. And just when you're ready to not do it, something good happens. So I take that as my sign. Nope, you're supposed to stick with it.
Yeah.
The universe, I say, my God is saying, no, this is where you're supposed to be.
Sure.
So I just did that. I just kept with it. Every year got better and better. Mm-hmm. And then one year I had a brand reach out to me and say, hey, we like the content that we see on your social media. Would you like to partner with us? Okay. And I said, sure. And that was the first time that I thought, oh my gosh, I can actually make a living doing this. Yeah. And it's something that I like. And it just kind of snowballed from there.
Yeah. I like that. How long have you been doing that? So you bought this product, and then you were starting to use it. Mm-hmm. It sounds like you were making your own videos. Mm-hmm. Were you posting those videos yourself, or were you sending them to friends and family? Or
no, I was posting them. So I started on Facebook because that was like the app. I had a very small Instagram following, family and friends. I maybe had 200 people, right? Okay. Just people friends.
And this is the same page that you have right now?
Same page that I have right now. Yep.
Okay.
And I just started posting on Facebook, and people that were like coaching me at the time were like, you really need to get out there. You need to put yourself out there more on Instagram. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that. And I just did it. I just started putting stuff out there, the most random stuff. If you go to my page and you scroll all the way back, don't do it. But if you go all the way back, you're like, this is some cheesy stuff. So I think you grow. The more you know, the more you grow. No, I just started doing that. And then when TikTok kind of blew up, right before COVID. Yeah. I was that person. I'm never getting on TikTok. If you see me get on TikTok, somebody needs to smack me. Well, I got on TikTok because guess what? Yeah. It was the fastest growing platform at the time. And I literally just took every video that I posted on my Instagram, posted on my TikTok. I put one video out there, and it went viral. I woke up one morning and I literally had 50,000 followers. And I thought, what happened? So, and that's, yeah. And then I just was like, okay, well, I guess I have to stay on this platform. Right. And for a long time, that was my biggest platform. Okay. And then my Instagram, it's kind of cyclical. Like when one grows, the other one doesn't. And then when the other one grows, the other one doesn't.
So you talked about that a little bit. Do you take the same video and post on Instagram and on TikTok?
Yes, I do.
Do you do anything different in those two applications?
I do not. So that is a big thing. So a lot of people that work in my industry, they might be on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. I just choose the two that I am successful in and the two that I enjoy the most.
Yeah.
But you do you. So if you have your one piece of content, I always post first to Instagram, and then I will use that same video. I may have to change the music, but I will even use the same caption, and I will they call it cross posting. So I will have my one video, and then I will cross post that exact same video to TikTok, because the two are not the same.
No.
I mean, at all.
No.
Like the clientele that you have on Instagram is way different than what you get on TikTok.
And we talked about this a little bit, how you don't really do much on Facebook. Right. And I do Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and LinkedIn.
Yes.
So I'm kind of trying to get as much exposure as possible, but I take the same content and kind of repurpose it everywhere.
Perfect.
And but you're absolutely right. Every single one is a totally different audience. All right. Yep. So like I relate, Facebook is like my people. Right. And my Instagram is usually my people, just younger. Like it's all my past students. Right. And then TikTok, there's a lot of like, I don't know who these people are.
TikTok is like the Wild West.
Yeah, for sure. So that's very interesting. Okay, that's good to know. That take the same content.
Doesn't matter.
Do you when you post in Instagram, there might be a button in there. I know it's on TikTok to where you can share to TikTok, or you go in separately.
That is a really good question. So I worked with a business a coach, like a social media coach, 2 years ago, and I learned so much. So they do not recommend that you do that. Right. Because TikTok, Facebook and Instagram, yes, they're one and the same, right? They're owned by Meta. TikTok, you can't do that. But even when I was posting on Facebook, I never really did it. I treated it as its own video, if you will. Sure. But I can't really speak if that's going to make a difference or not now, because Meta bought Instagram. Right. But back in the day, that was the thing to not do. Right. But now, yes, you can do that. There's times when I will share something on my Instagram story that I do not want to go to Facebook. So I'm always like, do not share to Facebook. I really think that once you start doing that, you're going to know your followers. You're going to know. You're going to know if it's something worth sharing.
Okay, so let's talk about that, post and stories. Sometimes I get in the habit because it's easy. It's just like I do the post, right? I put it all on my channels, and then I just go share the story. But your story should be totally something different, shouldn't it?
Yes, you're 100% correct. So your posts should be entertaining. Okay. Your stories are where you sell. Huh? So at least for me, sure. But in your niche, your genre, your niche, I think that would work very well. So your post, something that you put out there, is going to be something that's going to grab your follower or anybody scrolling's attention. Yeah. Get them in there to follow. When you want to share some important information or you want to sell something, like for me, anything that's linkable, I always share it to stories. I don't necessarily always share it to posts or reels, if you will. But yeah.
Which one do you like more? I mean, both are super powerful. Both need to be used, right?
I like reels because even for me, even though I have a lot of followers, I don't typically get a lot of views on my stories. But again, that's going to be a personal thing. So if you are getting a lot of views on your stories, then that's where you want to stay. Yeah. You want to ride that wave. So if you're getting a bunch of people like watching your stories, that's where you want to focus your attention. Sure. You still want to post, but you want to put the good stuff out on your stories too. Don't just share to, don't just share to stories. Or if you're going to do that, put an intro out there and be like, hey, let's say it's something for your house. Hey, it's Tony. I walked this house today, or this is my house of the week.
Right.
And then on that next clip, share it. And then share a link that they can actually go to look at.
Okay.
So
cool. I had a question, but then
Sorry.
I dropped it. No, it's all good. Talk to us a little bit about, what you've learned in this process and how you've developed. You talked about reels.
Yes.
And that's kind of, and then I hear this thing recently. It's like, oh, well, it's all about carousels now. And like, how do you keep up with all this stuff? And it's like,
right. So what I've learned is, yes, if you want to grow your Instagram, you want to be creating reels.
Okay.
But you and I just had this conversation about how to gain followers. And I'm just going to speak specifically like for your niche.
Right.
For me, it's different because I do makeup, skincare, beauty, fashion. Yours is a little more specific.
Right.
If it were me and I were trying to grow an account in the real estate industry, I would go to the biggest, most beautiful home, and I would take multiple clips of video that I could, and you will have tons of different ways that you can create content off of those video. You're going to take that, you're going to put it into a reel with some great music that you think is great, and you're going to do that to grab someone's attention.
Sure.
Because you want people to scroll through. We had this conversation, even if it's a $5 million, $3 million house that I can't ever afford to live in, I still want to see it. I still want to see the inside. So you're going to do something that's going to grab my attention and say, that is a beautiful house. I'm going to follow this guy because he's going to keep showing me beautiful homes. And then you're going to pepper in there in your carousels, right? So you're not going to do all reels. Reels is going to really be pushed to help you grow. But carousels, you're going to use, say you have House of the Week that you were telling me about.
Yeah.
And then in there, you're going to use all 10 of those frames for a carousel. And I'm assuming everybody listening knows what a carousel is.
Yeah,
Okay. So you're going to use all 10 of those because the longer that someone stays on your picture or your carousel, the more that they swipe through to look at those pictures, the more the algorithm is going to push that out there.
Sure.
So that's a way you can use that. I don't think that there's one hard rule because I've tried carousels, and even though I have a lot of followers, they flop every time. That's not what my followers want to see. So that is another really important thing. Once you start gaining those followers, you need to kind of cater to them, and you'll know. You'll know the things that make them happy, the things that they comment on, the things that they like, the things that they save, the save button or share.
Right.
And then once you're there, then you can start putting those things in there.
Cool.
I would say the number one thing that I learned, if you really want to grow on both platforms, I don't believe that you have to post every day. I think that can be overkill, but you need to post 4 times in a row, if that makes sense. So this was a trick that I was told.
All right.
And I was like, when I had this coach, she was fantastic. She said, what's your goal? And I said, I want to grow and I want to reach more people. And she's like, you're going to do everything I say and you're going to do it when I say it. And I thought, oh my God, but you know what I did?
Yeah.
And I still use all of that even now. The number one thing she told me was, you're going to grab their attention, but you're going to post 4 times in a row. You don't have to do it every single day, but it has to be good content. Don't just, throw up a thing 4 times in a row, whether it's a reel, a carousel, or just one static picture. Do it 4 days in a row. But before you do that, look at your analytics, go to your followers portion, and look at when your followers are most active. And you kind of want to post at that. Even if you don't feel like it is, kind of go by what the algorithm is saying or what those analytics say. And you're going to post 4 times, and then you can take 3 days off.
Okay.
But that's why I said, so if you go into this house, take 10 clips of this house, different rooms, because now you have all those clips of raw footage, and you can create in reels all of these different videos and blips. Or you can just take a video, use your finger until you see a picture that you like, scroll through it, screenshot it, and that could be something.
Yeah.
that was the number one thing that I didn't believe when she told me. And I didn't do it at first. And I was like, and I worked with her for 6 months. And I didn't believe her. And then I started, she's like, I'm telling you, do this. And I did. And it just like, it works.
4 days in a row.
4 days in a row. Can be any 4 days in a row, but 4 days in a row. And the reason that I think is that the algorithm, especially for like something like TikTok wants you on there all the time.
Yeah.
And I really kind of focus, I'm back and forth. It just depends. When one's really growing, I'll focus more on that. But TikTok especially, that algorithm is like the more you put out there, the more they're going to push you.
Yeah.
Because I'll notice if I take like every once in a while, you know, I get burned out and I'm like, I'm just done. I'm not, for 10 days, I'm not putting anything out there, right?
I'm so glad you said that because
Yes.
I've had those moments, right? I came out of the gate. My very first year, Miranda was like, you got to post to social media. And,
Yes.
I'm not against it. And I was posting. And I popped up like in the top 20 on social media my first year, whatever, in San Antonio. It was some random poll, right? And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. But then I just got burned out. I was just like, oh my God. Like,
It's very easy to get burned out, which is, okay, this is kind of going back to those 10 pieces. What I've learned to do is to batch my content. You asked me, we talked about this. You said, what day do I do it? And I said, it just depends on the day that I feel like doing it or that I have free time to do it. And so, for instance, I'm just going back to like these 10 clips of this one house thing.
Right.
When you have a lot of raw footage, especially like when you're working in real estate, take video of everything.
right.
Everything. Because you can pull clips from whatever, and you can sit there at night and you can just piece together some videos, and you can maybe choose one day a week to do that. Right. Give yourself 2 hours.
Yep.
Right? And then you're not so prone to get burned out. Because for the long time, I didn't do that. And I was like, my God, I feel like all I do is talk into this camera. Or, you know, and it is hard.
Yeah.
And then when you get to a certain level, it's okay to take a little bit of a break.
Sure.
I kind of like, I think, you know, I don't announce it,
Right.
but, you know, when I go on vacation, I'm on vacation.
Right.
I'm done. Like, my phone is my job, and you can get burned out.
Yeah.
And it's okay. And I think people expect that.
Sure.
And I think that feels more genuine of a person because they would, you know, think the same thing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was the number one piece of advice. Batch your content and post 4 days in a row. It can be any 4 days,
Okay.
4 days in a row. And you're going to get to see what works and what doesn't. So if you say you post Sunday through Wednesday,
Right.
and you're not getting, you know, it's not, you know, you're noticing you're not getting anything on these days, you're going to start to see, oh, well, my followers really like it when I post on here. I tend not to post on a Friday or a Saturday because I feel like now that we're out of COVID and everybody's living their life,
People are out and
people
about.
are out. It's Friday night. They're not on social media.
Sure.
Saturday, they're out doing things.
No?
But that's just me. Everybody's different.
Right. Yeah. You know, I have a question about your post. Man, we could go on and on. There's so much depth in this, and but I noticed that a lot of us, you know, you have a business account. Pretty much, you're promoting, you know, the lifestyle and all that. But every now and then, I'll post a personal thing, like it'll be like me and my daughter, you know, or whatever, and it explodes with views. Like everybody loves it. You know, just trying to balance that and mix it up. It's hard to because like day to day, our business is the driving force behind it. You know?
But that makes you human.
Right.
And when people see that, they're like, oh my gosh, Tony Ruiz, this amazing realtor, he's also a father and he likes the same things I like. And that makes you human.
Sure.
And I think that is a super important thing. And especially as you grow, because you're going to have you will have people who have followed you from the very beginning,
right.
and they know everything that they know about you. But as you get farther along, you're going to have all these new followers that don't know anything about you. But absolutely, I think that I do. I don't do it all the time. I post a lot of stuff to stories, but you know, when I go on vacation, I don't share, but I will like maybe post some videos at the end, or like this is where I stayed, or you know, I always post pictures of my family during the holidays because that makes you human. I mean, you're a normal everyday person.
Right. It's definitely a driving force, and everybody wants genuine. right?
Absolutely.
And it just
genuine, and that we talked about that too, genuine and value.
yeah,
So that was the other thing that I learned was you need to give your followers something that they want.
Yeah.
Like you can go out there all day and you can show us pictures of houses for sale, but what if I just want to see a picture of a $5 million house, the
Sure.
inside of a $5 million house? Do you know what I mean? And then once you grab them and get people to start following you, you need to figure out what are people's, well, my coach called it pain points. What are people's pain points? What are things that are really hard for them to grasp? What are things that they struggle with?
yep,
And when I started, I wrote down 25 pain points of somebody my age, a woman my age. So you could theoretically write down 25 pain points of the average buyer
yeah,
or seller,
Right.
because you rep both, correct?
right, yeah,
Right. And then you need to figure out a way
education,
to answer those pain points. So like this podcast,
Right.
we discussed this too. This is great. If people have questions about, anything, you can refer them, go check out my podcast. I have this here and they can get an answer.
right,
And when you bring value and you are able to educate them in an entertaining way,
sure,
other than sitting there, like who wants to sit and read like a contract of,
Right.
I don't know, real estate laws.
Yeah.
But if you create a video and you're giving them, so you're entertaining them on this video, but then the next video you're going to pop in like, did you know? And I mean, you've done that, like interest rates or
Right.
what have you. But stay those 4 days consistent, answer those pain points.
cool,
And I think the biggest thing is, because I was the same way, people expect this to happen overnight.
yeah,
I have been doing this for 4 years,
yeah, consistently,
consistently.
Yeah.
4 years. It took until year 3 to start moving.
That's really interesting because I talk to a lot of newer real estate agents, and some of them do the social media thing, and I've been doing it. I just started my 5th year of real estate,
Right.
But it really, I didn't like start getting deals from my social media until like year 3.
Right.
Because then it's like evidence of success. They trust you. They're like, oh,
Yes.
this guy's for real.
Exactly.
He's doing it.
Exactly.
And then they start calling, and then they start reaching out, and it's like,
Yes.
oh, this stuff does work.
Exactly. And you can't, and there are, let's be real, there are people that go out there and like that weird thing that happened to me on TikTok.
Right.
That was completely not something that has ever happened since, right? And that happens, but 99.9% of the time, you have to stay consistent. You cannot, you can't get inside your head and say, people don't want to see this.
Right.
So that was something else that I learned that I thought was so important. Social media, yours, mine, whoever, it's for you, not for other people, which is kind of like, it's weird when you think about it because you're trying to entertain people to draw them in, but really it's for you. It's your creative outlet. It's your own little space.
Yep.
And it's kind of, when you think about it, you're like, well, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense because I want people to follow me and I'm trying to bring them value, but you're also, it's really.
Yeah, that speaks to me a lot, even doing this podcast, and helping others. And it's like, I enjoy doing this.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so it's for you.
Yeah.
So don't, like if it doesn't happen right away and it's truly a passion.
Right.
Then stick with it. But then the biggest, and you and I talked about this, you can talk the talk, but until you walk that walk, until you actually batch your content and you commit. So, like Instagram, if you think you're going to be doing something, I'm sure you can schedule it
Right.
when you're going to put it on there.
Right.
So pick one day, batch all of your content and schedule it, walk away. But when it posts, be there to answer.
Yeah.
I think you know that.
For sure.
I had a lady, it was something I was selling in a reel, and I went and I said, pick a word, whatever, give me a word, and I'll send you a link. And I do that to increase more engagement, because the more engagement that you have on your posts, of course, the algorithm pushes it out there, et cetera, et cetera. And I sent her the link in her messages, and I always try to put a little personal message. And she replied back immediately, and she said, well, how do I know you're not a robot? Mm-hmm. And I sent her a picture of my face, and she was like, you would not believe how many people use robots to send links. And I was like, yeah, it's really easy. I kind of wish I did. But so, you know, we had that discussion too. People want genuine, they do want to be entertained. Stay consistent.
Talk to us a little bit about, you just mentioned engagement.
Yes.
What's the best way to engage your audience and get them to engage with you?
So in your content, so let's say you're putting something for a home, right? And it's a house, and you know, ask a question, give them a hook, get them in there to look at it, but ask a question in your caption. Even though I have found that the majority of people just want to look at the video and they want to look at the picture, but ask a question. Make them answer. So even if it's something, you know, even if it was something where you had your girls and you were at wherever, say, oh, like we went to the park and we did this. What's your favorite thing to do with your family?
Right.
Put it back on their end where they're going to answer you, and then you answer them back.
Do you put that in the video?
No,
or you put
I
in the
don't.
Caption?
I put it in the caption portion.
Yeah.
I have seen people say, I've never said this myself, but I have heard I've never said it, just because to me it doesn't feel genuine, because if we were having a conversation, I would never say to you, follow and save for more. Yeah. Like, I would never say that because that doesn't feel genuine, but they say
that it's a call to action.
It's a call to action.
Yeah. So coaches say that you should. Coaches say that you should.
That's the one thing that I've never been able to do.
Right.
Because to me, it doesn't feel genuine. But I do think that I mean, it's worth a try. Right?
Yeah.
So
I always put that in my caption, you know, I put my number out there, message me, blah, blah. There's that call to action that's written in there.
That is your call to action. But your call to action to get your video to be pushed out more, them calling you, algorithm isn't going to.
Right.
That's why they say like, follow, save, share, subscribe, what have you. And everybody does it.
Yeah.
And I think if you do it and it doesn't get you anywhere, then don't do it.
Talk to us about, you take your video, all
yes.
right, and it's just right on your phone. You don't take the video in the apps, do you? You just do it on your phone?
No, that's a great question. So I take all of my videos on my phone.
Okay.
And then I use, the number one app that I use is CapCut. CapCut.
Love it.
It is amazing. I can't believe that they're not charging people for this.
Yeah.
Now you can go pro on CapCut. I've never done it.
Yes.
I love CapCut. No, I think it's amazing.
It's so good.
It's so good. And
it's easy.
Yes, it's so easy. I mean, I used to use InShot. I used to try to do it in the app itself. And oh my God, it was, and you know, if you mess up, you mess up. Yeah. So no, I use CapCut. I think that is my hands down favorite editing app. It's super easy. I use everything from there. I will save my videos for like 6 months, and then I feel like they're getting old, so I just delete them off of my phone.
Right.
I also have a way, so let's talk about this really quick. This just goes to cross-posting. This is important. We were talking about Instagram, Facebook, direct sharing. So Instagram does not like when people take a TikTok video, save it, and share it.
Right.
Why? Because it has the TikTok logo all over.
Right.
I have a trick.
It's on CapCut.
It's on CapCut.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
I know. Tell me about it.
So I'm going to try to, I'm just going to verbally tell you.
Yeah.
And then maybe you can do something for your followers. So what you're going to do is you're going to go into the TikTok that you want to share.
Yeah.
Okay. You're going to save the video. So save it. Then you're going to take the same video, right? So you have your saved video, it's over on your phone. You're going to take the same video and you're going to save it as a live photo. Okay?
Okay.
Then you're going to open up CapCut. And you're going to take the video, put it into CapCut. You're going to take the saved live video. I'll show you when we get off.
Sure.
I don't know if there's even a way that I could even show you.
Yeah.
You're gonna take that live picture, and there's a way to go into your phone, and you're going to save that as a live video. Okay. So essentially what you have is your original video from TikTok with all of everything. Like if you're talking, the music, everything. And it's got that little TikTok app, and it's floating all around the screen.
Right.
And then you've got your picture that you saved as a live video. That is now a raw video, but it has no sound to it. And it also doesn't have the TikTok video or the TikTok symbol.
Yeah.
It's teeny tiny, all the way down the bottom. So you're going to go into CapCut, and everybody listening, just use CapCut. Like it's amazing.
It's the best.
You're going to go in there, and you're going to extract audio from the video. And then it's going to bump everything. So you'll have the audio extracted at the bottom. Okay, and you'll have the two videos, and you're going to delete just the video with the TikTok on it.
Yeah.
And then that audio is going to bump up underneath of the live video that you saved.
Yeah.
And you're just going to crop that teeny tiny little thing out, and you have like a brand new video. And you're going to post that on there. And Instagram doesn't know any better.
I love it.
I hope they don't listen, because that's like the biggest trick, because they don't want, they do, but they don't push that out there.
Because I take my video, like a Monday motivation thing that I do, and I take my video, and then I literally go to Instagram and do the reel and post the captions in there, and then it goes to Facebook, and then I have to go to TikTok and recreate it. I mean, it's the same video, but then I do the captions in there.
Yep.
And it's tedious.
It is tedious. But, I mean, that cross-posting is amazing, too, because that is a way to grow.
Yeah.
But, that was...
You use the captions in CapCut as well?
I do not.
Okay.
I don't use that.
Do you use captions?
I'm not sure what you mean. Well, like captions on Instagram, I just write my captions in the caption portion.
Oh, I'm talking about captions that pop up as you're speaking.
I do not.
You don't do that at all? Okay.
I don't. But that's another thing. So, like, let's talk about the style. So everybody's style is different, right? So
kind of
for
has to
me,
match.
well, I just think it kind of has to go with your personality. But if that's like how you're doing it, like for me, when I make my videos, I want them to be pretty clean, I don't talk a lot in my videos. Some of them I do, but like the ones that tend to do really well, I typically just do what it is I'm doing, and I try to put like really fun, funky music. Like I try to pick music that, even though they say use trendy music, I try to use music that's like not really, like older music. But that's me. That's for my style.
Sure. And might be your audience as well.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't particularly use those, but if your audience, like you said, if that's your style and they like that, yes, by all means, keep doing it.
Yeah.
And when you get a video, and when you get a carousel or whatever it is, and you see it start to do really well, if you go into your insights and it's like, wow, it's starting to do well, you are going to post, and you're going to post, and you're going to get rid of that 4-day rule. You're going to post every single day. You're going to ride that wave.
So when one takes off, like, dig in.
Bam, one after the other. And that's when it gets hard, because
Yeah.
if you don't have content saved or batched content, which I think everybody hates to do. I mean, because it's like, it's kind of nice to say I can get up one day and just shoot a video and put it out there, and you can definitely do that. But when one starts to take off, that's when you have to ride that wave, because once one takes off, and then people are like, they're going to keep scrolling through your stuff to see what you've got, and you want to keep your face out there. And then when you're kind of taking off, Instagram especially is going to keep pushing you out there. So you want to ride that wave. So I guess, have batched content.
Yeah.
Or at least have pieced content that you can create something from.
Sure. Talk to us a little bit about hashtags. Do you use them? How important are they?
So I use hashtags for a different reason. I use them for brands to find me.
Okay.
You would use them for people to follow you. The old rule used to be you'd see like
a lot.
30 hashtags.
Right.
Instagram does not they say 5 max. So if you look at all my old ones, you'll see like, I mean, every variation of whatever in there. But that's not so much the rule anymore.
Sure.
They say 5. TikTok, I put as many as I can out there because I feel like my TikTok audience is way different than my Instagram audience. I feel like Instagram is more curated. It's more, I don't want to say fancy because that's not the word, but I just feel like it's a little more curated. TikTok, I call it like the Wild West because you can put something out there and you can work so hard on it and it'll flop. And you're like, wow. And you can put some junk out there and like people are going crazy over it. Yeah. So TikTok is a whole nother beast.
Okay.
But Instagram says no, just 5.
Yeah.
And I wish that this would have happened. I was just invited by Meta to have a phone call with them to see what the new up and coming trends are. Nice. But I don't get to know when.
Okay.
The deal is they text you before they call you.
Okay.
And I was like, but when? Like, how many more days? So, yeah. I wish I had more information to share, but that was one of the things is use 5 valid. Only other thing I will say about hashtags is keep them niche specific. However, so if you have 1,000 followers and you're going to put in Texas Realtor as your hashtag,
right?
When you pull that hashtag up, you can see the amount of times it's been used or how many people are on there. If it says 1 million, don't use it. You want to use smaller, specific hashtags. So, I don't know, just say TX Realtors. I'm just going to pick one, right? You want to, if your account is smaller, you don't want to get lost in the sauce. Because if you only have so many followers, and I know that sounds like, well, why can't I be in there? You can.
Sure.
But think about it. Even like, I don't even use ones that have millions in there because it's like everybody's in there. So if somebody uses a hashtag and they're scrolling through and there's 1 million reels.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You're going to be somewhere in there. So you want to find one that is maybe, under 100,000.
Okay.
I try to stick with those.
Yeah.
They say the bigger that your account gets, the bigger, like the, hashtags you can use with more people in it. But I still kind of shy away from that because I'm like, well, how are they going to see you?
Right.
And I really don't know. I feel like the For You page kind of kicked that hashtag out,
Yeah.
But everybody's different with that. So
what is your setup like? I mean, it's pretty much just a ring light and a phone, isn't it?
You saw it, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Just a ring light and a phone. I don't have an office. I don't even have, because I do makeup and stuff like that, I don't even have a makeup thing. I literally have a 24 by 24 glass side table that I bought from like Homes to Go or Rooms to Go or something like that.
Yeah.
And I put a towel over it so that it doesn't get too bright. And I try to shoot in natural light. So I shoot anywhere along the back of the house or in the bedroom. And I just use my ring light. And I stand there and I do everything there. So don't feel like you have to have this huge, amazing setup. You don't.
Yeah.
I mean,
for sure.
It can be anywhere.
Yeah.
So, no, I don't have a fancy setup. Yeah. I literally have a ring light.
So here's a question that I wrote down. Okay. Where do you get your ideas from? They just pop in your head, or do you follow, like you research other people that are doing stuff and like, oh, I'm going to do that? I kind of make it my own.
So that's a great question. So when I was starting, again, your pain points, you're going to start with your pain points. That's going to give you your first set. And I was just told 25. You can pick however many you want. So you start there. I repurpose a lot of my content, but I also, if I'm scrolling and I see something that someone else has done and I'm like, wow, that's really cool. I save it. I don't immediately repurpose what they're doing. Like I try to give it, some time because I don't want to be like, oh, here I am, I'm doing the same thing, Yeah, absolutely. If somebody does something that inspires you, do not copy them verbatim, but take it and make it your own. Mm-hmm. Because it's really everybody's just kind of sharing the same information. We're just sharing it differently.
Yeah.
It's whoever you or how people are going to follow you for your personality or for what you're giving. Yeah. I mean, how many times it's not like somebody's going to say, Tony, you can't talk about interest rates. I talk about interest rates. Well, what? Right. So yeah. But if you see something that someone is doing that inspires you, by all means, do it. Now, if I am doing something, so like I did make a reel about like taking my makeup off, which is something I don't typically do, but I decided to do it because I saw this girl and I'm like, oh my God, that is so cute. I want to do that. And so when I did that, I used the same music. I gave her credit.
Sure.
So do that. Play fair. And I just said, I was inspired to make this by this person, and I tagged her so that my followers could go and look, and, fair is fair.
Sure.
But yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome.
If you're inspired by it, make it your own.
For sure. Yeah. You got any other notes there?
No, I was just looking. I was just saying, like, for you guys, create, like, I called it a grab video, but get them in there because like we had this conversation. I follow lots of real estate agents, but not because I'm buying a house in Utah or not because I'm going to build another house or move anytime soon. I follow them because they had something that I was like, holy cow, that house is beautiful. Yeah. This person shares this. I'm going to go look. Because, I'm like we talked about, I want to see how a $5 million house is decorated because I want to know, what do they got in that house? What could I could maybe put that in my house. That's where I'm getting my ideas. Yeah. So that was the thing that I said. I think it's, it's really important. You have to draw people in. Mm-hmm. And then when you pepper your own pain point information in there and you keep it genuine, then they're going to stay. They're going to follow you immediately because you're showing them something beautiful.
That made me think of a couple things. I started noticing that a lot of pages will pin post at the top. Yes. Do you do that? I thought about doing like an introduction video for new people that are following me, like, hey, I'm Tony, blah, 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 whatever, and pin it.
So I don't do that. I used to take my most successful reels and pin them, but I used to do it on TikTok. So I would pin it on TikTok so people would see them immediately. But then I also learned this, and I'm so glad you said that because this is important too. If you have a piece of content that went viral, repurpose that every 6 months, 6 to 9 months, because
what do you mentioned that a couple times, repurpose that. What do you mean?
Reuse it. So
literally post the same thing.
Literally take your video. You're going to you can change the music, take that video, save that video, repost it with a different song, tweak the caption. Really? Your followers are not going to remember 9 months ago. Yeah. They're not. I learned that was one of the biggest things is that if you have something that people love, repurpose it. I've even seen, and I don't recommend this because I was like, this is weird. I saw a couple accounts on TikTok where the person literally took the same video and posted it over and over and over and over. And I'm like, what? But yeah, so every 6 to 9 months, if you're feeling stagnant and things are feeling stagnant, I've done that twice. And each time that first viral went viral again. Wow. And then, that's interesting. 6 to 9 months.
Gotta go back and find my popular ones.
Yeah, tweak it. Change the song. Yeah. Or you could even change the song and in your caption say, this went viral, whatever. Or we discussed this 6 months ago and it was super popular. It's worth a share again. Yeah. Re-share it. Because if it went viral once, chances are it was really good and it's going to go viral again.
I was thinking about emojis and your link in bio. So talk about are you a big believer in emojis? Does it make a difference? I heard it does, then it doesn't. It's probably a personality thing, I'm guessing.
That's kind of how I feel about it. Are you talking about emojis in your
caption, or even in your video? Mainly in the caption.
So in my my header where my name is, I don't use emojis. In my caption, sometimes I do use emojis, and I honestly have never really thought about that. I can't really answer to that.
Okay.
I think it is. I do sometimes use them. Now I'm gonna have to go back and look and see if they were successful videos or not.
Yeah.
But for me specifically, like I've never really used them as like a way to kind of like boost my content or do
Right.
anything like that.
Right.
And what else did you ask? I forgot.
The LinkedIn bio.
Oh,
I know
okay.
you have one. How
have
important is that?
one. I have one. Something else that I learned was you have to treat everybody like they're not going to click on the link in your bio. Because think about it. So you're on your phone, right? And I say it because somebody might.
Sure.
Like 1 out of 1,000 might.
Right.
But I'll be like, if you want this product, there's 3 ways you can get it. You can click the link in my bio. But 9 times out of 10, people aren't going to get out of your reel, go up to your bio, click in your link tree, and then find that link. Because that's not...
It takes them away from
It
scrolling.
takes them away from that mindless scrolling.
Yeah.
They want it sent to them. Or then I will say, here's your 3 ways. Link in bio. Yes, have it in there because people will look at it. I do
Sure.
think it's helpful, but I don't, for me...
It's not necessarily a driving force.
It's not necessarily a driving force. You're absolutely correct. Or I will say, and this is another great way to drive engagement on your post. If you'd like a link to this house, comment house, and I'll send it to your messages directly. And then you personally go in and send it, and then send it, and then you go back to them and say, thank you so much for your interest. Please check your messages. If you don't see it in your messages, check message requests. Because 9 times out of 10, if you're not following each other, it gets lost out there. And then, I always put a little heart or something.
Sure.
And then you're answering them and you're going into their messages and the algorithm's like, aha.
When you're answering them, you put that right into the comment section, or do you private message them?
So I private message the link first,
okay.
And then I just put whatever I'm putting in the message.
Yeah.
And then I wait a minute or 2 and I go back to their comments and I reply to their comment, hey, I'm so glad you have an interest in this. Change it up. Don't say the same thing every single time.
Sure.
And then say, go check your messages. Yeah. And that's a great, that was huge. That's a huge way to drive engagement is to answer. Yep.
Yeah, I like that.
Because to that algorithm, you're having a conversation. And they're like, I used to think it was just saves and shares, but I really think commenting is huge.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. I think that wraps up our notes. Did you have anything else?
No. Just don't get discouraged if, it takes time, and
just keep putting it out there.
Just keep putting it out there. Keep doing it. If anybody has any questions, or if any of your followers or listeners have any questions, you can reach out to me.
Sure.
Personally on my Instagram, my handle is Mama Max Hack. DM me and I'm just say, hey, I was listening to Tony's podcast. I'm more than happy to answer your questions. Yeah. And I'm on TikTok, not TikTok. Remember TikToks?
Yeah.
TikTok as the Melissa Cunningham. But really just go through Instagram because I feel like messaging on TikTok gets lost.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No, I really enjoyed it. I know I learned a lot, and a lot of great information. I'm going to have to go back and listen to it and go like, oh, I'm going to do that. And then check all my stuff and go, oh, I did have one go pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I shared a reel recently on Instagram, and it went to Facebook, and it exploded on Facebook. And I was like, what's going on? And I got random followers.
That's amazing.
That was kind of cool.
That's amazing. And see, that's the thing is that you never know. And don't give up on one. If you post something. Yeah. I have a friend of mine who does the same thing I do. We're in the same industry. Okay. And she has just been plodding along. And she was like, girl, I'm about to give up. I'm like, don't give up. Yeah. I'm not kidding you. She posted something 2 weeks ago and it just sat there. It is now going viral. Yeah. 2 weeks later. You never know. Yeah. And people used to say that to me and I would be like, shut up. But you never know. Yeah. All it takes is people to start looking at it and it just gets the ball rolling. So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
This is awesome.
Thank you for asking me. This was fun. It's
Yeah.
my first podcast. So.
We might have to bring you in on a class, and we'll like provide
that would
lunch
be
and
tons of
have realtors
fun.
ask questions.
I
like,
would
in
love
person.
that. Yep.
Be
Totally
tons
down
of fun.
to do that.
They would love you.
Oh,
So,
awesome. I would love it. Sounds
awesome.
good.
Well, cool. Well, guys, that's the podcast. I hope you enjoyed the show. Lots of tons of information. Share the show with a friend, realtor, whoever that's doing social media. I think they could get a lot out of this. Drop us a review, give us a rating. That really helps us grow the show and impact others like you. You can join our private Facebook group, The Productive Agent, and make sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And we thank you for joining us today. Now let's get out there and go produce.